A warm welcome to our next webinar here at JFD Brokers, and also in the name of JFD Brokers, a warm welcome to everybody out there. Today, the 22nd of March 2018, 7 o'clock, at least the German time, wherever you are, but it's good to have you here within that webinar, and I hope that everybody is doing well. My name, Stefan Polichowski, is already speaking, but today I'm not alone. We will have another speaker here as well, at least from time to time he will be there. That's very nice to have Jens here as well. So that's very good. Jens, you are there?
Yes, I'm here. I right now I felt a little like I was introduced from Michael Buffer. It sounded like that. That's really great. Yeah. Hello, also from my end. So I'm really happy to be here. And yes, nevertheless, Stefan is the one who will guide through the webinar, and I will from one or the other time then just answer some questions from his hand. Let's say.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Jens. Yeah, today we have a special topic. Today it's about professional trading, the JFD basket portfolio. And honestly, I'm a little bit proud to have that webinar today, and I think Jens has the same opinion, because what we present here today is a great stuff, and it's really something which has to do with a long history of work of what we have done during the last couple of years even. And yeah, you will see that today's webinar has two aspects. On the one hand, honestly, yeah, we talk about a product. That's right. But on the other hand, you will have the opportunity to learn two specific strategies within that basket portfolio, which we trade. But we go into all the details of those two strategies. And I announced already that we offer that everybody can have ebooks about those strategies as well. So just maybe write down already my email address down there. You see it S. Friedrichowski, really complicated last name, at jfdbrokers.com. And I will make sure that you will get those in-depth descriptions of the two strategies. So, and on the other hand, what will be topic for today as well is, if you are trading and you have several trading strategies, you may ask yourself, hey, how to weight them, how to manage my risk, and those kind of topics we will touch today. So hopefully interesting for everybody out there. Before I start, I have always to show once at least that slide here. It's our risk disclaimer. Of course, it's telling you that whenever you trade for your own. So later I will talk about specific trading strategies and will introduce them in detail. But finally, if you trade them, of course, it's your risk, it's your turn, and your responsibility. Already saying that just reminds me to tell you that you will always find the recordings of this webinar on the JFD YouTube channel. Just press JFD YouTube, then you will automatically be guided to our YouTube channel, and you will find the recordings of this webinar as well as all the other webinars from Jens, from me, from other colleagues at JFD. Very interesting topics, but that's the way where you find those. So a little bit more in detail. I would like to touch the following questions and things to be discussed. So what is really behind that JFD basket portfolio? And on the one hand, a product, yes, but there's much more behind that. And first of all, we have to talk about who is behind the JFD basket portfolio. As always, there are people around, and they are doing hopefully a good job. And at least we do it, I think, quite well. But anyhow, you will see, and you will see results, even long-term histories, live histories for our account. And that is one remark I do from time to time in any webinar. If anybody is talking about trading strategies, the first question you should ask is, show me your account statement. And only if somebody is able to do that and is willing to do that, I think you should listen further. So that's the key question. to have clear facts, and account statement is everything. Finally, when it comes to trading, of course, we will show everything about that. So I would like to share with you a little bit more of the details. So how do we trade? What kind of trading strategies? Are there discretionary elements, or is everything automated? So that we really know about every strategy in our portfolio. And that shows you already that we go completely transparent about that JFD basket portfolio. And yeah, that's exactly how JFD works, just fair and direct. So transparency is key. Two strategies will be shown in detail, and the one or the other may already know them, but it's breakout systems and a DAX day-a-week seasonal. Two quite simple but very successful strategies, and you will learn everything in detail about those two as well. But then it comes to another key question or key task when you do portfolio trading, or if you are really trading professional, that is the main question of how to manage the risk. It's to have profitable strategies is the one thing you need, definitely. But without the right risk management, the right portfolio allocation, you can ruin even profitable trading strategies. And once again, we go transparent. That means we share with you exactly how we manage the risk of that JFD basket portfolio. And finally, of course, I will tell you a little bit about how you may participate into that portfolio and give you some more specific details on that. First question: who is behind the JFD basket portfolio? You see already here two pictures, but at least there I would like to mention a few others which are not here right now. Two people from JFD as well, that is Plamen and Mohamed out of JFD headquarter. And yeah, just one name additionally, because later you will see that we trade automatically as well. So we need expert advisors, and those are done by Peter Müllner. But that's just as an addition. But the main traders for the JFD basket portfolio, that's exactly Jens and myself. But I think it's better that Jens, you introduce yourself by your own.
Yeah, sure. So probably some have already heard about me in one or the other way. So currently I'm the global head of research and education at JFD Brokers. Beside my work as a trader, I went out on my own in 2016. Before that, I was 5.5 years, I think, the head of research of Germany, Austria, and Switzerland at another big broker. Some of you might probably know FXCM, even though I was managing the daily FX project in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, and made this one of the biggest projects here in Germany. And in fact, with this, many other similar projects that other brokers started. Then in 2016, I finally decided that's probably a good idea to go out on my own, try something on top of that, beside doing market research. And together with JFD Brokers, based on the what Stefan already mentioned, being fair and direct, and being 100% transparent, something which I already all the time when I worked in this industry, or during I worked in this industry, put above everything else. I decided then to work together with JFD, and JFD asked me. So in fact, this is by the way a story probably only a few know, but I was already trading live with JFD during my time at another broker, which is a quite clear sign what I think about JFD as a broker, obviously. And then JFD decided, or said, well, are you probably interested also in managing clients' money? JFD has a portfolio management license, so is allowed to offer solutions like managed accounts. And I was like, yes, that's probably a very, very good way to start, because this is very similar to what Stefan said. There are many analysts, especially out there, who never ever showed their account statements or offered something like a managed account, mainly due to the fact that most of them are better analysts than traders. And yeah, so this is where it all started. And we are right now about to make the next step here with this, let's call it a project, the JFD Basket Portfolio Project, which I'm also very proud to be a part of as a trader now. And being, yeah, hopefully, or I can hopefully add a lot of value to this portfolio in terms of positive performance then, which I hopefully can deliver. So far it works out well. Let's just hope that I can keep this up. Yes.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And I have to add something as well, because you later will see that, as Jens already mentioned, starting that kind of account already 2016, we will look into the history of that account in detail. So, and it's going north, which is perfect. Yeah, you will learn about how Jens managed exactly that history in a few minutes. A little bit about myself. Yeah, Stefan Friedrichowski, you know my name, and I have a totally different background. Nothing originally with trading. Yeah, I'm a physician and a totally different background, but you know from my other webinars that is a kind of view on market stocks and prices. It's more mathematically and statistically driven, and all those kind of strategies are exactly out of Z rules and derived from analysis of histories, looking for patterns, looking for specific movements, and drawing the right conclusions of how you can transfer any idea into a profitable trading strategy. So that's how I work, and I do it since a couple of years. And it's perfect to be with JFD in that project. So that are the traders behind. So it's not only something, it's not a brochure telling you anything. No, there are real living people behind. And that's good. So, but now let's go directly into the basket portfolio and some key facts about that, because it has already a history. And the JFD basket portfolio is what I would call a quite conservative investment product. And that product is targeting for private and institutional investors. And we have already a lot of them under management, and therefore we have those kind of results. What we have done now, a little bit more than a month ago, we changed some more details, and that has been adding a couple of new strategies to that JFD basket portfolio. And to have a broad portfolio means we have diversification, and that's even better, and that's what we are doing. You see already some key numbers here. So finally, what we decided is to say, okay, for the total amount of money we manage, 80% is being traded automatically and 20% discretionary. And especially the latter one is that one which is, let's call it Jens trading, because it's quite well. It's good. It's always, I'm lucky to see those trades, how he's managing those kind of activities. But you in a few minutes, you will learn about that much more than I can talk about that. The rest is part of automatically trading strategies. And what we do, we trade Forex indices and gold CFDs. So more or less a complete portfolio. Up to now, we don't trade any stocks, but let's see. In total, we have 9 individual strategies, so it's a real big portfolio, and we target for moderate return with low risk. And as you see already here in the statement, the performance numbers may look small, but have in mind, on the other hand, our drawdowns are extremely small as well. So it's exactly what we try to achieve. It's a conservative investment product, stability first, and not promising any 1% performance hit in 2 months. No, that is not our style. And we are looking for a moderate return with low risk. And you see, it worked well already in the history, and let's see how we go further. As you know, all historical numbers are no guarantees for the future, but as you see what we are doing exactly, I think hopefully it will create some additional trust in what we are doing here as well. I mentioned we keep it open. So we are completely transparent. Here is a list of strategies we trade within the JFD basket portfolio. And it starts with the discretionary trades from Jens, and then comes the 8 automatic strategies. And the one or the other may realize, wow, I know more or less every of those. Yes, they have been part of our webinars during the last 11 months. And that's right. It's, as I always tell you, I'm not only talking about trading strategies, I trade them. And we take exactly those histories for that JFD basket portfolio because they have already been traded in live accounts, and therefore we can show up our history. So 2 of them will be later, a little bit later. I will touch them much more in detail. That's the breakout Euro Japanese yen, and go for the DAX day a week because they are quite simple, easy to tell, and you can trade them by your own as well. Or you can finally decide for the overall basket. But anyhow, let's really start with trading details or looking to real account statements. And that is something I can do here quite easily because we can look to the complete history of the account, here live to via FX Blue to that account. And you see there's quite well moderate return, and it looks well. It goes straight up, straight north, and that is exactly what we are doing. And what you see here is a history since, let's have a look, September 2016. And most of the part here has been traded during Jens' activities when he has done everything alone. And you see already quite well results. And I think it's a good time that we learn a little bit more about your discretionary approach of how you trade and what you trade. Maybe, Jens, you can tell us a few more details on those discretionary trades in the JFD basket portfolio.
Yes, sure. So in fact, as already said, probably some of you have heard me already. In my morning meetings I'm holding on a daily basis. You can follow them in the YouTube channel from JFD Broker. So every morning, 10:30 a.m. GMT. But also probably some of the audience here at FX Street just joined us. So several people there on every Thursday. Yes, it's always Thursday. There is a live trading session from the US market opening. And most of them have heard about my trading style and what I'm doing. So in fact, it's always that something I mentioned already yesterday in the German version of this webinar here, that I have to smile a little when I hear discretionary or discretionary trading in general, because discretionary trading has all the time some kind of, let's call it, as kind of a freestyle touch. Like, okay, rule of thumb, probably market is going up or down. Let's just go along today and see what we get to see. Then some basic technical knowledge, like higher highs, higher lows. Let's wait for a pullback to form a highs and then go along from there, or the other way around. And that's it. And in fact, that's not the case in my trading. But so the main traded asset, and this is something you can already see in this diagram here, a little at the bottom, it's the DAX. So the German index. And the strategy I'm trading is, in fact, an automated strategy, which I know, which has a positive expected value. Let's call it a basic strategy, where I already know that it makes money. I just need to push the button, let's say, and after a series of trades over a longer time frame, usually based on the history, the results should be positive. And now what I do is I try to optimize this expected value, in fact. So let's assume the expected value tells you that the strategy is making, let's say, 10 cents per euro you risk. So that said, it does not mean that we are aiming for 10 cents while risking €1, but making 10 cents per euro risk means you're making, on average, per every euro you risk, on every trade 10 cents, or let's take clean numbers like €1,000 risk, 10 cents you make for each euro risk. That means €100 per trade on average you make. And that means it doesn't matter if it's a winning or a losing trade. And but you're making these €100 per trade on average. And now my target is, in fact, to optimize this expected value. So for example, try to increase this expected value to 11 cents, or if you're taking the risk of €1,000, making €110. So generating an even higher profit and making this whole strategy more profitable. And therefore, let's probably have a look at today's DAX performance. So I'm not sure if Stefan has a chart probably.
I can do it.
Because today is a beautiful day to talk about the basket. In fact, I just found out, I haven't checked it, so I'm not looking at the performance every second or so, but I just checked the results here at FX Blue. And I just found out that this will so far, and tomorrow is the last trading day of the week. Nevertheless, based on our risk parameters, we have a very good chance, I think, to make a very, very solid result for the week. Probably it will be the most successful week since the inception of this basket portfolio. And if you look at the development here in the DAX, you can see that there's a clear and very nice trend structure on the downside. And so now the thing is that I already closed my position, or let's put it that way, I scaled out of the trade once the market accelerated on the downside. And the overall result is that currently I'm out of this DAX trade, of this DAX short trade at 12,075. So which means 12,075. So now if the market will close above that level, let's assume probably 12,100, that means that I turned out a 25-point better result than the basic strategy for the day. So if the day closes at 12,100 points. On the other hand, it means that if now, for example, the DAX is falling further, and in fact, I have to say, I hope really so much that it will fall further. You can see here, these are real trades, which are traded in the basket. These are short trades in the DAX, and I just hope that the market will collapse from now, because it would mean that those trades, which are still open here on the DAX, would turn an even higher profit for the portfolio, mean more performance. But now, just assume that the market will close, let's say, at 12,050 points. That means that I closed out the position at 12,075, and the result I generated is 25 points worse than what the system would have generated. And so what I do is, in fact, I run the strategy, the basic strategy, on a demo account, and I just collect the data at the end of the day. I look where the market closed, then respectively the strategy closed out the trade, and I put this in relation to my result, and then I have a single column in my Excel file, and I just calculate the difference and do this for a series of trades. And so far I'm doing quite well, even though I'm trading currently below the expected value, and that was mainly due to the high volatility at the beginning of the month of February. And it wasn't that it's not that I have generated a negative result here. In fact, I turned out a profit in this high volatile market environment, but the system performed better than I did. And the reason is that I didn't feel comfortable trading in such a, let's call it low liquidity market environment, or in a market environment which is showing such a thin order book, where markets from time to time, and some of you might remember that, are spiking 100 points higher and then 100 points lower and that. And I usually step back from such environments. And yeah, again, don't feel comfortable trading that. Nevertheless, turned out the profit so far. And yeah, that's in a rough way how you can imagine my discretionary style of trading. So in fact, it's discretionary in terms of the exit, but the entry into the trade is purely automated. So the system is trading, respectively generating a signal, entering the market, and then it's on me to optimize the overall expected value of this basic strategy. Yeah, and that's it, in fact.
Perfect. It's always nice to listen to that kind of approach, because it's a very well combination of those two aspects: completely automatic, plus what we now always call the discretionary touch, those additional decisions in order to minimize risk, to outperform what's the strategy logic original behind. And I can tell you, I've seen those results for the last couple of months now. And what Jens has been able is, to smooth the equity quite well. So drawdowns lower, and even as he mentioned, the total profit was a little bit less, but let's say the drawdowns have been much less, and that's perfect. The other thing, just since we have now here an open chart, you can see that there are still 3 DAX trades open, all short, as you can see. And the 3 DAX trades here, I can tell you a little bit about. The first one, which has been opened already here at that level, that is a DAX day week trade. That is a strategy we will have in a minute. And you see 2 other short trades here. Those are open range breakout trades to the south in this case. And there has been already a third trade, DAX short, but that is already closed. It was a perfect trade. I think it was closed more or less exactly at that level here below. So worked well, and we have already here that kind of diversification, because as Jens mentioned, he has been short, that the other breakout strategies finally turned out to go short. Okay, but sometimes we have even the situation that we have both short and long trades, and finally sometimes it even happens that both come to a positive end, and that's always amazing. Works out very well. Good. So we know exactly what Jens is doing now, and that is the most part of the history here. Let me turn a little bit more short-term history now, since everything is directly done in that account. So that is now a short-term history of all the strategies in this account. I show you later another account with a more long-term history of all the 8 other strategies. But what I would like to mention here is, you see, it runs smooth. We don't have huge drawdowns. I know the history here is not that long, but you see how we trade. And that is risk management, and will be our next part. But before going there, I want to show you here, we have 8 additional strategies. They have been traded for a longer period already. And just adding up those 8 strategies comes to that kind of performance here. Let me show it in a second. So here we have a chart. That is a performance of those 8 other strategies, small accounts in this case, and just adding up different kind of accounts, different size, you will see, and going north perfectly. So, and now let's have a step further. So you see we have those 8 additional strategies, and each of them have a history in a live trading account, like this Euro Japanese yen one. I have to apologize that it looks like this one here, but that is purely because of MT4. MT4 is from time to time adding up old trades and puts them in one trade, and then it looks like this one here. But you know that this account has started at 1,000, has already more than 20% profit, and that looks once again quite smooth, straight to the north, small drawdowns. So that's exactly how we would like to see any kind of trading strategy. It's trading euro Japanese yen purely, nothing else. And you see how it can work out here. And that is already more than or about 1 year history for that specific strategy. We will talk about that. How is it running and how do we our trades in, for example, that strategy? But before doing that, you see we have a couple of breakout strategies. We have the DAX day a week strategy we will discuss, and we have what we call internally Big Ben portfolio. That's about 15 individual forex pairs we trade in a certain way, and then you might remember other webinars we have had that we use some edge, that we use some probability advantage, like specific EMAs, which one we follow or we do counter. Therefore, the strategy is called EMA counter. Or we use even power candles as a probability edge. And out of that, we do some kind of position trading. And you remember that we have had those in our webinars as well. But now going a little bit more in detail, because we want to be transparent, and it's always nice that you can learn something during the webinars. So the next three slides is specifically for those two strategies. Let's start with open range breakout. So open range breakout is in principle easy to do strategy, and it's quite powerful. Just as an example how it in principle works, and then we come to the absolute details of euro Japanese yen strategy within that JFD basket portfolio. Open range breakout strategies always start with 2 point in time, so two start time and an end time, like here, midnight and 8 o'clock in the morning. So we have a time range of those 8 hours. And then during that time, we have a maximum and a minimum, which is in this case here, you can't see it that well, but you can believe me, the minimum is here. So the time range creates a price range. And that is finally that gray box here. And when it comes to the end time of that range, that's here 8 o'clock in the morning, then we place 2 orders. We place a buy stop order on the upper limit and a sell stop order on the lower end. And then we wait. We wait until one of the two is triggered. In my case, it's the short trade, and immediately we would cancel the long trade. So the strategy originally works with the logic of one cancels the other, OCO. By the way, the stop loss of those pending orders is always the opposite side of the range. So for the sell stop order here, the stop loss is here, and for the buy stop order, the stop loss is here. Then, as always, when somebody is talking about trading strategy, he is choosing a picture where everything went well. So price went further to the south and is hitting my take profit a little bit after lunchtime. By the way, take profit, okay. Where's the take profit? In that picture, it's at a risk-reward ratio of exactly 1. That means that the distance from here to here is the same than the distance from here to here. So my profit is 1R and my risk is 1R. Therefore, a risk-reward ratio in this case from 1. That's the basic logic of any breakout strategy. They might be a little bit more complicated finally, or you have additional parameters, but in principle, they have 3 degrees of freedom. starting time, end time, and the take profit multiplier, or better to say risk reward ratio. There might be others. And we indeed use an EMA as an additional filter because we do not place two orders. We do not place the buy stop and the sell stop order. We put an additional EMA into the chart, and then we only trade into the direction of that EMA, meaning if the price is above the EMA, we only trade long, and if the price is below, we only trade short. So that's the additional element here for the Euro Japanese yen open range breakout strategy. And my picture is only an example. The correct and perfect times are 3 o'clock in the morning, and all times I present here during the webinar are German times. So German time zone, including summer and winter time changes. But I always look to my clock, then I have the right time. So the range start time is 3 o'clock and the range end time is 10 o'clock. Or I always write down 9:59 just to say at 10 we have to start placing our orders. The EMA in an H1 chart is 11, and that's still German here. Risk reward ratio is 1.7. And now we have an additional question. Hey, what if stop loss and take profit is not hit during the day? For that, we have a rule as well. And that means at 10 p.m., we close the trade anyhow. If it's not reaching stop loss or take profit, close it. So we use a time stop. We have no overnight trades, no overnight or over weekend risk, and we don't have any swap costs involved. So that's the one strategy. And it's easy to do, and you can do it by your own if you want. That are the details for that. And we have another strategy we have had already in the DAX chart, and that is the strategy which is even simpler, because you don't have to do lots of things when you trade that kind of strategy. The first thing, what you do is you put an EMA into the daily DAX chart, and we take a period of 40. And now we wait for the open of the for the FDAX, which opens at 8 o'clock German time, and then we compare. We compare the open of the FDAX with the EMA of the previous day. If we are above, we simply call it we are in a bull market. And if we are below, we simply say, okay, we have a bear market. Okay, that's a fair definition. It's just one definition, but it works extremely well for exactly that strategy. And now it simply depends on the day of the week. Therefore, we call that strategy a seasonal strategy because we make use of something which repeats. And in this case, it's the day of the week. And we have statistically identified specific days which have a bias in a specific direction. And I know from statistical analysis that in a bull market, that Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays are long days, and the other two are short days. And in a bear market, it's exactly vice versa. And the statistical edge is quite huge, and therefore we can trade that profitable in that easy way. Doing so, we have to talk about the trade itself. So we open the trade at 8 o'clock German time, and now we need a stop loss as for any trade. And that stop loss is set 1.1% away from the entry. And now we simply wait until the end of the day. In this case, it's once again 10 o'clock p.m. German time. We don't have a take profit. We just close the trade if it have not reached the stop loss before. And that's a complete strategy. And it's that easy, and it's extremely profitable. Just that we have a look for that. Let me go back here to the portfolio. That is strategy 12. And now we can have a look for the history here as well. And you see it went up, then slightly down, moving upwards once again, quite straight. And that is exactly the time range Jens mentioned already. When the DAX has been collapsing, extremely doing well for that strategy. So finally, what do we have? We have a monthly growth of more than 1% for that strategy, at least in the history, and that's doing quite well. So, and now the good thing is you may have not got every detail here. During those 2 slides or 3 slides. What we have created, and I have more to say what Jens has created, he wrote down the 2 strategies in small ebooks, and they are available. So just sending around an email, and if you have already Jens' email, you can send the email to Jens, of course, as well. Or even you just send an email to support of JFD. Then you can have those ebooks for free, and they will look like this one here. That you have the complete strategy a little bit more described, and you have some graphs here about history of that and previous examples, how they work, and so on and so forth. So you have really the complete picture of, and here we have the other one, and you see historical graphs for that strategy, backtesting performance when they have originally developed, so all the more details about that. And of course, once again, you have the trading details, like on my slides here, what time frames, what EMA values, and so on. So they are all available, and we want to be transparent with our strategies, and those definitely can be traded by your own. Or you later will say, I go directly for the complete basket with all the 9 strategies. But that are the 2 ebooks, and you have free access to that. But now it comes to the other important part, and it's a really important part. We are trading a basket, or maybe you are trading a basket of strategies as well by your own trading activities. And then there's a central question: how to manage the risk, how to allocate the weights for the different strategies, which is quite important. And I can tell you a little bit of what we are doing here during the last couple of weeks and months, that we really talk about allocating once a week, and we have an in-depth view to everything there. But up to now, everything is stable, so there's nothing to be changed. But how do we come for the original weights of those different strategies? And in general, I want to present here 2 kind of approaches how to allocate weights and risk for the single strategies. Let me start with the one we did not choose. I come to that later. Approach number 2. Approach number 1 might have been that we take those 9 strategies. And the good thing is, we are not talking about backtest results. No, we are talking about real life results for those 9 strategies. And what we, of course, can do, and when I showed the portfolio of the 8 automatic strategies, I showed originally exactly what I mean here. We mix them. We are adding them just as they are. And that's the one thing you can do. You add them up. The equity lines of those individual strategies. But then you can do it a little bit better. You might take 9 weighting factors for all the individual strategies, and then you move around with those weighting factors, and you can optimize it then. For example, you look for a minimum drawdown overall at highest profits. That's something you can do. And you can do it by computer quite well. So it's not a big deal to do it. And of course, if you do it that way, you get really the best result of adding those 9 strategies. It's really the best result you can achieve. That's the advantage. But there's a disadvantage of that approach. And that the disadvantage is, since you have not that huge statistics, the risk of over-optimization is quite huge. What do I mean here? Think about two strategies. At a certain day or a certain month, one strategy is going south, the equity, and the other equity is going north. It's perfect to have equal weight between those two strategies, because then the drawdown of the one will be cancelled by the profit of the other. That's right. But what if that does not happen in future as well? At the same point in time, and you don't have an expectation about the future. So there's a risk, and that risk is over-optimization by just looking to the past of those individual trading strategies. So, in fact, it's the best result you can achieve, adding those up with the right weighting factors simply by optimization. But it's not the best way to do. So we did another way. And what we did is we started with defining a maximum allowed loss per day. So that was the original starting point. And what we have in mind is that we are willing to accept a 1% loss for a single day, maximum. And therefore, it's a conservative approach, what we are doing here. So all started with that single number. And let me go first through my list of points here, and then I will show it practically within an Excel sheet that you know exactly what I'm talking about here. So starting with that 1% as a target value as a maximum loss per day. Since we have a history for all our strategies, the next point is to look what has been in the history the worst day result for any and each single strategy. So we are looking really for the worst case scenario, worst day result of the overall history. And then what we do is we distribute our overall 1% loss, maximum loss we are willing to accept, to all the single strategies. And we decided to give 0.2% for the discretionary strategies from Jens. And finally, for the 8 other strategies, it's a 0.1% for each of the 8. So that we did simply by decision. If you are doing that way, you get the weights of the individual strategies within the portfolio totally automatically. It's simply calculation. It's nothing else. And what we're doing, if you do so, then it's extremely conservative, because you accept or you anticipate that each strategy has a worst day result at the same point in time. So it's a worst case scenario. Since we are aiming for a conservative approach, that's exactly the way what you should do. I come to that, why that is that worst case and what we can expect in reality or statistically, I will show once again. Just a second. So that you can understand how we did it. Our two examples, Euro, Japanese yen, open range breakout, and DAX day week. I was still here, so already the account number of the live account of, but anyhow. And the account size, the current standing, I think that's a couple of weeks old, but anyhow, I know the monthly return for those two strategies for the history. I know those numbers as well. And now it comes to the most important number. What has been the worst day result for the Japanese yen strategy? 14 euros 28. Good. I know that number. Then we can translate that number in a percentage value, just dividing that number by the account size. So it has been a minus 1.43%. And now it comes. What was our target for the strategy? 0.1% as maximum loss in the overall portfolio. And then we go for a weight of 7%. Just let me turn that number to any other number, 20%. Then you will see, oh, if I would weight that strategy in the overall portfolio with 20%, then such a worst day result would give in the overall portfolio a nearly 0.3% loss in that basket. That is unacceptable. We accept only we accept only 0.1% for an individual or each strategy. So the weight is 7% for Euro, Japanese yen. And you do the same for DAX day of week and all the other strategies within that portfolio. Then you get the weights for those individual strategies. What might happen if you do so for all the strategies, you might have here a number which is exceeding 100%, which is still okay because you have a target of 1% maximum loss, which you are willing to accept. So that's the way we did it. And that this is the worst case scenario, I would like to, as always, when you have webinars with me, you get Excel sheets, I want to illustrate a little bit further just by some random numbers. Let's have a look to column A here. There are random numbers between -1 and +1. Think about that might be the account change of a single strategy, -1% up to +1%. You see random numbers. Column B, just the same, just another account. And now you add those two accounts, really adding them up. In my graph here, you get then that yellow line. And of course, if it comes really worse, then it might be that we have nearly 2%, let's talk about 2% loss at a single day. Yes, that might happen, and vice versa. But now it comes to statistics. And when it comes to statistics, then I always know, and I know that it sounds crazy, but in statistics, 1 + 1 is not 2. It's the square root of 2, so 1.41. What do I mean? And that is exactly shown here. If you calculate the standard deviation of account number A, it's 0.58 in this case. Account number B, it's 0.59. That's the standard deviation of what we have here as a time series. And now adding up the two, it's not the double value, it's 0.83. And you see the ratio I calculated. In this case, it's really exactly a square root of 2, but let me get fresh numbers here. You see the graph is always changing when I press F9. We get simply some other numbers, but all are around about 1.4. So 1 + 1 is not 2. Statistically, it's square root of 2. Doing so for all of our trading strategies, that's what I did here in a quick calculation. So you see, we have 8 strategies with a maximum loss of 0.1. And we have the 9th, the discretionary, with 0.2. Adding those according to the same rules up finally gives a 0.35. And therefore, it's extremely conservative what we are doing. If everything goes wrong, of course, still we might have that -1%. But the expectation value for that loss is lower, and that is 0.35. And now let's have a look to the practical results for the last month. And yeah, you see here daily results of each individual day of the portfolio up to now. And what I calculated here for those days, is the sum of all the days until the day of before yesterday. That's 1.3%. The best day has been 0.6. And the worst day result, you see the number, 0.36. What was the calculated number? 0.35. Okay, that's a little bit nice and funny, but because it's not a proof, but it's still meaning we are going worst case scenario. So we can always be better than that 1% maximum loss. But that's the logic here behind what we are doing. So it's exactly what we want, and that we have a maximum allowed loss per day, and that is 0.1%. So that's the way we did our portfolio allocation and what we did for risk management of the overall strategy. And yeah, our target is clear. Don't be too risky. And that's what we are going for. And you can use those kind of calculations and even approach number one for your own as well. So I hope you learned a little bit about how to create a portfolio here and how to manage the risk within that portfolio. And now it comes the question, how can I invest? How can I participate here to that? And then you need some additional key figures how to do. Hopefully you get already some interest into the JFD basket portfolio. You still have the chance, and you can do going for the two strategies we have prepared, the two ebooks. But maybe you decide, hey, maybe I want to go, or I want to participate to the JFD basket portfolio as well. Then it's quite simple. You simply write an email to the support@jfdbrokers.com, and you ask that you want to open an invest account. So it's not a standard account like any other one. It's a so-called invest account for the JFD basket portfolio. And then there are people who will guide you through the process, which is not that complicated. Just a second. There are people who will guide you to that process. What you cannot do is you cannot use an existing account and just say, hey, please do my trading in that JFD account. No, but the process, if you are already a JFD client, then it's just a sub account you open. So the process for getting access to the JFD basket portfolio is a little bit easier. What you have to know is there's a minimum account size if you open such an invest account, and that number is 2,500 euros, which is still a small number. Think about what we are offering here is something like wealth management. Normally, those accounts start maybe at 100K, so 100,000, or maybe you find somebody already at 20K, but normally not for small accounts. What we can do here is to offer that already for small accounts as well. Yeah, and of course there's a management fee. In this case, it's 2%, so it's meant annual, but finally paying that management fee is done monthly, but it's easier to talk about an annual fee. And there's a performance fee as well, which is 25%. But the good thing is, it's the logic behind is high watermark. If you are not familiar with that kind of principle or that kind of logic, it's quite easy to explain. High watermark means that you only pay a performance fee if you are reaching new highs in the account. So if your account is going up 10% and then 10% down, then 10% up, 10% down, and so on and so forth. So you would have only to pay for the first increase if it first goes north, and then not any longer, because there's no new high in your account. So that's a good thing about high watermark, and that is the performance fee behind. The other good thing is that you can deposit and withdraw money at any time. So it's nothing that you have to be invested for minimum time of, let's say, 1 year. I would recommend to think about time frames like that, but there are no restrictions. And the other good thing is, you can have access. You can see the actual standing of that account more or less live. You have access to what is called the My JFD portal, and there you can see the actual standing. I've been told it's updating every 5 minutes, so it's really more or less real time. And you can see additionally all closed trades for what has been traded in that JFD basket portfolio. So I think it's quite a cool thing, and I hope you will agree with me for that as well. Yeah, we are already 1 hour here within that webinar, and I hope you enjoyed the combination of, to some extent, you learned a little bit about a product. And that product is simply called JFD Basket Portfolio. And I would call it's something like wealth management for everybody, because it's interesting to have something like that already for small accounts as well. But you can benefit from what's behind. And I think nobody else is in that industry that transparent with strategies, logics, risk management like we are. But yeah, once again, that's for what JFD stands, and it's just fair and direct. You know that we are trading 80% automatically and 20% discretionary, which is a very nice mixer. And yeah, during the last couple of weeks, and maybe Jens can comment on that as well, to see that live, how that combination works is really amazing. So it has been the perfect decision to do that mixture, doing both, and it's really nice to have a look on. Yeah, we have presented here 2 strategies in detail. You can have access to those just sending an email. Then you will get those as an ebook, and they are English, so we have them in. Or if we have still here German guys sitting around, you can have them in German or English. Just indicate what language you would like. Both is possible. What we are doing here is really we aim for a conservative approach, and therefore we have a conservative risk management. And you know now exactly how we are doing that. I think there are not many wealth management companies who really tell you how they are doing it, but we do, and that's what we want. Yeah. Now it's up to you, but maybe I think Jens may comment on that here as well, hopefully.
Yes, I'd like to add the following. I 100% agree. It's really amazing if you are part of this project, if you're working in the background here and discussing the weight of the strategies, risk and money management parameters. It's amazing to see how professional all this works, and so far the performance is really outstanding for the month of March. I think we're had something like 2% or so. Which is really outstanding. Nevertheless, I'm long enough in this business and in the markets as a trader to thank at the first here the DAX, my main market, to say thank you DAX, because it's really moving in a really nice way and in our direction. Yes, so all in all, as Stefan summed it up, it's definitely up to you. I'd really love to hear from you via email. You can not only contact Stefan but also me. You can send an email to support@jfdbrokers.com to get the ebooks. They're completely for free. There's nothing to hide. It's no big secret which strategies we are trading. And yeah, so that's it from my end. I'm once again really happy to be here, much appreciated, and being capable to say something. It's an honor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you once again. And I just want to share with you once again one document here, because it's underlying what Jens has just mentioned. Looking to the DAX, for example, and indeed comparing the DAX with the portfolio. That's you see. Oh, I'll make it a little bit larger. Then it's easier to follow me. It's amazing. Look for the very end here in those blue lines. You see the DAX. Okay, the DAX is outperforming the portfolio, but you see how volatile the DAX is going up and north and down and up and so on. It's look for that decrease within the DAX. What has been done by the portfolio during that time? Increase. Very good. Okay, we know that we can go short, but it's not only DAX has been more or less collapsing and portfolio went north, but it's how smooth it goes here. And that's really something quite amazing. It's really well. We don't have that volatility like the DAX itself. We have a smooth and steady increase, and that's exactly what we try to achieve here. Yeah, thank you very much listening here in the webinar, and you will find the recordings from tomorrow onwards on the JFD YouTube channel as well. For me, it was a pleasure to be here, part of that project, and will be part of that project, same as Jens. And so have a nice evening, and hopefully see you again for the next webinars. Either Jens, me, anybody else from JFD, you find good webinars all around, nearly every day. And I will be online and think in about 2 weeks from now, once again, talking about trading strategies. What else? So let's see. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Yeah, have a nice evening from my end too. Talk to you tomorrow, hopefully. See you, and bye-bye. Take care.